The Outnumbered crew is right here this morning again to bring you to speed with the headlines for the day and, of course, the big story reaching you live and direct from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nigeria. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and today on set I have Sadatu and Michael. Hello, Michael. Hello, Sadatu.
Good morning, Mr. Ramsey.
It's good to have you join the Outnumbered crew today.
You're welcome.
Well, I was saying, wow, King Sad. King Sad is putting on a blazer this morning,
Yes.
looking so sharp. And I was wondering, I said, king, a female king. You know what
it
it means?
means? A dominion, somebody that dominates.
Okay,
her
somebody that
territories.
dominates. Okay,
Yes.
okay, somebody that takes charge of her territory.
territories,
That's
yes.
good. I like that. That's the King Sad right here. So if you see her outside, you can call her King Sadie. All right. Okay, let's take you to the headlines that we have for the day, beginning from the Punch newspaper. And on the Punch newspaper this morning, to my left-hand side, NNPC to boost economy with $4 billion gas project. Page 22 is where you get our details. Then this one, the kicker says cholera. Government eyes vaccine donation as cases hit 1,579. Details read on page 29. Then blackmail can't stop new presidential jet approval coming from the Senate. And the picture of Akpabio is right there, the Senate president. And since yesterday, I think Akpabio is up to something because as at yesterday, he said, well, no Senate approved any private jet. But then today is coming out to say whether blackmail or not, the presidential jet is going to be acquired. Nothing will stop it. All right. From one person, just between yesterday and today. And then this one said 2023 budget, federal government okays December extension to forestall abandoned project. It is read on page 2. And the big story from the Punch newspaper says the federal government rolls out 1 trillion naira palliative, massive construction projects. Then 2 riders to that story. The first rider says 3.7 million families to get 540 billion naira. Okay, grants. It's a grant. The 540 billion naira is a grant. Then 155 billion naira for assorted foods and other things. All right. Then the second rider says the federal government to begin massive rail construction, CNG buses distribution in states, including the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. And moving away from there, 2 more stories, and I will be done with the Punch newspaper. Probe begins as ex-Konga CEO allegedly jumps to death in Lagos apartment. Details on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. And finally, from here, states should negotiate minimum wage. Southern governors are the ones saying that. They came out yesterday to say, well, we don't care what the federal government is discussing with labor, but they should allow us to talk with labor one-on-one ourselves so that at least everyone can negotiate what they can really pay. And if you look at it from the both sides of the coin, you will get to know that there is a little fact in that, because sometimes if the federal government arrive at a particular amount, the states may not be able to pay, especially states that don't get enough allocation and doesn't have their own revenue like Lagos has so much and some of the oil states. Okay, that's going to be the size of the headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning. Let's move to the next paper. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Ramsey. We'll move straight to the Vanguard today, 27th day of June, 2024. Above the header, investor mobilized $50 million to boost CNG adoption. That's coming from the federal government. Pro-Wike Group fought Fubara's claim on bombing of Rivers Hotel. Details on page 12. Police probe death of ex-Konga boss Nick Imudia. Details on page 6. We spoke about his death, how he jumped off from his building just yesterday. And police are probing his death. I don't know what that means.
That's it.
That means there are some debts.
Maybe something is connected. After the investigation, we'll get to know. I think since he jumped from the balcony I don't think there would be need for an autopsy, but then investigations can be carried out.
Absolutely.
Who did he spoke with last? Is there any one he's contending with?
Shady
Or is
deal.
it actually a suicide?
Or
it's
was
a
it
murder?
suicide, or someone pushed him from
him
the
off,
balcony?
yeah.
You know, let the investigation be done so that people can really know. But then it's so dicey because they said he had to make some calls before that incident actually
his
took
child
place.
and his
He
brother.
called his brother in the United States and also
daughter.
spoke with the daughter.
Yeah.
So I think the investigation should be done, and Nigerians should know why that happened. Was it an emotional issue? Was it a psychological
Financial.
issue?
Absolutely.
Was it because of the hardship? But then somebody of his caliber, I don't think the hardship should hit him that hard. But
We really can't
no
say.
one know.
No
Maybe
one
he
knows
has an
exactly.
ailment that is terminal. You know, anything can
Can be
actually be
possible,
responsible for that. So
yes.
investigations
Should
been
be
carried out.
out.
It's not out
A
of
proper
place.
investigation.
Proper one,
please.
yeah.
Away from that, let's move to the story on page 35 of the Vanguard. Oil theft. Surveillance operatives uncover oil bunkering camps in Bayelsa State. Now we'll move to the big story. The kicker says minimum wage. Let each state negotiate what it can pay. That is coming from the governors of the 36 states. Details on page 5. Now we have about 6 riders to the story. Tinubu neck silent on minimum wage. Public-private workers getting restive over delayed minimum wage. That's coming from Labour also. Want Labour leaders to push for quick resolution. Lament hardship becoming unbearable with basic necessities no longer affordable. And we are not happy with Tinubu's slow motion. That's coming from Sanu. Of course, that's talking about the negotiation that has been long overdue between the federal government and Labour. Away from that, how democracy activists made mistake of a lifetime in 1999. That is from Shehu Sani. Details on page 8 of the Vanguard. Tinubu approves 50,000 grants. 155 billion naira food package for households. That's on a very good note if that happens. Details on page 8.
If it actually gets to us, right?
Yeah, if it gets to the
We'll
people that
smile.
were, 155 billion naira.
You know, I don't get
for every
freaked out
household.
when I see
When you
news
see
like
news
this,
like this, yeah?
because we all know where we
Mr.
belong
Ramsey doesn't want to
now.
comment because he knows.
But at the end of the day, we keep hearing.
Yes, we
no, at the
continue.
end of the day, you
We
hear
see
you see these things on
and
paper. But
the
then in the
palliative
practical
that they said they
aspect
were
of
going
it.
to give some months ago, did you receive
No, I
anything?
didn't.
So
But
when
some
I
people
see
have
news
brought
like this, it
receipts.
doesn't
Some people have
make
brought
just
receipts.
go ahead with
How
your
come people have
papers.
brought receipt palliative and we Nigeria didn't receive that?
Just
Away from that, Army promotes first female officer Oluchukwu trained in Stanhurst. She was trained in Sandhurst to lieutenant. Army has promoted her. That's the good news coming from Nigerian Army. Details on page 8. The last story that I will take, that's sports on page 37. Chelsea join Man United, Bayern in pursuit of Ademola Lookman. That scored a historic hat-trick at the Europa League final. They just concluded a few months ago. Ademola Lookman is a man that is chased by every club.
well, that's one thing. If you end the season
On a historic note.
on a historical note, a lot of
was
clubs
prolific.
come begging for you. You remember after the performance of Victor Osimhen, so many clubs started looking for him. Some can afford him, some cannot afford him, one thing or the other. And the same thing is happening for Lookman. I'm not really surprised because Lookman was actually fantastic and his performance is not to be overlooked. So, well, I think it's a good one, and kudos to the Nigerian guys. They are doing us
Doing
proud.
awesome, yeah. That's the size of the package in the Vanguard. Over to you, Sidatu.
Let's take a look at what we have on Daily Independent. The first rider says NAS extend implementation of 2023 budget supplementary appropriation Act to December 31st. Details on page 29 of Daily Independent. And the next rider says surveillance operative uncover oil bunkering camps, perpetrators in Bayelsa State. Details on page 7 of Daily Independent. And the big story says rising debt interest payment may push Nigeria towards debt default. And then we move to the next rider that says Tinubu asks governors to meet food security target, rolls out construction program. Detailed on page 29 of Daily Independent. Food crisis, FG state to contribute free fertilizers to farmers. Details on page 7. We won't allow Tinubu suffer Malawian Iranian president's fate. Akpabio. detail on page 7 of Daily Independent.
Akpabio is just I think
Just
Akpabio is
making
no. The truth is sometimes, okay, sometimes when you begin to talk too much and people don't see so much sense in what you're saying, it makes people ignore you the other time you want to say something serious.
Exactly.
You understand? Just between yesterday and today, the
has
Senate
made
president has said so many things. All right. As at yesterday, he said the Senate never approved the buying of any jet. Okay. Today, he is saying whether there is a blackmail or not, nothing is going to stop the presidential jet acquisition.
And a few days ago, he said that the life of the president is more important.
It's more important. And today is now in this other paper, he's making comparison to other presidents from other countries who have had issue with their jet or whatever. Well, I don't know how important this is right now to Nigerians who are going through so much. I don't know. But then, he's the Senate president. He needs to talk and maybe buy his way into the heart of the president, probably.
Maybe he's looking for favor. May God give him. Let's move on. Minimum wage, let's pay according to our abilities, Southern governor says. And then we have troop repel attack on Ebonyi police station, kill 5 terrorists. And also EFCC boss order arrest of officer for assaulting hotel worker. Detail on page 6 of Daily Independent. Cut governance costs. Stop aircraft purchase. Oze Homa tells Tinubu. I think that's all we have on Daily Independence.
All right, let's quickly get to the Nigerian Tribune, where the kicker of this story says a minimum wage each state should be allowed to negotiate with labor unions. Southern governors are the ones saying that. Then just one rider to that story, as governors restate commitment to process for better wages. All right, as governors restate commitment to process for better wages. Details read on page 5. Then this one says, the Oni of FIFA is saying he designed his shoes. All right. Explain why he doesn't wear wristwatches. Details read on page 16. That looks more like an entertainment. EFCC chairman orders arrest of officers involved in Lagos hotel raid. Details read on page 28. Yahaya Bello. Okay. Well, I don't know, but then Yahaya Bello seeks transfer of case to Kogi State, and yesterday I saw that I think one of his lawyer is getting into trouble already. So many things happening.
But is it possible for somebody that is wanted by EFCC to try to make request of transfer of his case?
Well, I don't know.
Why is
but
he
then,
so scared of? I thought he said he's the lion.
Lion, Kogi State.
Lion is in his day.
She's from Kogi State. So
he has actually fallen out.
So she knows so much about Yahaya Bello, so don't be surprised.
To be the lion and you're hiding.
So after his migration to states and Buddha, Cuba, he's back now. He wants it to transfer to Kogi. Why didn't he stay where he's been hiding? Some
persons even said the governor of Kogi State is the one hiding him.
Exactly.
That was what some people said. It was alleged. But then, no, I don't know how true that statement is.
Does EFCC have an office to probe an offender in Kogi State? You have to come to Abuja.
Well, maybe the case, after the EFCC finished their work, the case may be charged to court.
Yeah, to court.
If need be. Yeah. So, I don't know why he's saying it should be transferred to Kogi State. Kogi State is just a stone throw from Abuja. Oh, okay.
Scary lion.
That's the adjective to qualify him.
Yes.
He wants the case to happen
in his territory. Yeah, he has. Yeah, that's it. All right, the big story from here says a private illegal aircraft used for drug trafficking, money laundering. Keyamo is the one saying that. Says one writer to that story says federal government will probe licenses, clamp down on indicted operators. Details read on page 23. So many other headlines, but I won't be able to take it right now because of the want of time. Let's move to the big story, and that's going to be after the break. When we return from the break, we'll bring to you the big story, which is about the palliative. We really want to know if you've gotten any palliative from the federal government so far, and there is a promise coming for more palliative. Is that what you're interested in right now, or something else? More after the break. We will be back.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleke.tv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome from that break. This is still Outnumbered live on your screen, and the big story is right here. What are we talking about this morning? Palliative. You know, Nigerians got used to the name palliative after the removal of subsidy, and it became more like a slang in Nigeria. You move anywhere, you hear people talking about palliative. And some persons actually made a caricature of that statement and the move by the federal government. And so many things happened. We heard cases where people who are not even deserving were going for palliatives. And we heard that people who really need these palliatives never got it. In some states, some governors, we heard. Okay, I'm using the word heard because no one got to me
like
as a Nigerian.
Theory.
You understand? And so today we are hearing that the federal government is rolling out 1 trillion naira, okay, palliative. Then 3.7 million families to get 550 billion naira grants. Then 155 billion naira for assorted foods, okay, and other things. Well, this is where we found ourselves. When you hear about palliative, the number one thing that comes to your mind is something is going to come on your way to cushion the effect of the subsidy that was removed because it was a hard hit for Nigerians. And up to today, as I speak with you, as I speak to you right now, Nigerians have not recovered from it. And now more promises are coming. We heard about CNG buses. I've not seen them on the road. People are still struggling to afford fare to their offices, to different places, to the markets, to the farm, and everywhere. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about this palliative thing? When you first heard about this, what came to your mind? When you first heard, rolling out another 1 trillion naira palliative? Yes. Michael will always say people at the diaspora got palliative. He is in Nigeria, he never got.
Well, how did you get to know that people in the diaspora got
I have
palliative?
a friend who told me
Well, how is that possible?
he received an alert because before he traveled, he applied for it, and shockingly, he received it abroad. But then this particular project is a shock responsive safety project. It was first approved in 16. I think it was December 16, 2021. And it became effective on January 30, 2023. If I can remember, the word palliative became popular during the COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
That's when the word palliative was popularized, because sometimes you find out that foods
when people were breaking into shops,
breaking into stores,
and the emphasis became more when subsidy was removed.
Yes. So with this loan, the federal government plans to run a monthly cash transfers to the vulnerable and the poor. So it's a loan. Not palliative. Palliative necessarily means you don't really have to pay.
There was palliative, there was
there's
loan.
palliative, then loan.
Yes, I got the loan.
You got a loan?
You got a loan. Oh, I have
That's
people here who got the loan.
That
was there.
But this one from World Bank is a loan.
Okay.
It's a loan, actually. That's to cushion
the 1 trillion naira?
Yeah, to cushion the effect of inflation and the rising scarcity of food, insecurity, poverty, as instigated by the inflationary trends in the government policies and programs. But then, for the people that it will benefit, rural areas and those in the urban, that makes it a loan. Because if it is benefiting those in the urban, in the city, those in the city are somehow, living better than those in rural areas.
Are you sure?
When we talk about the poor and the vulnerable,
Are you sure about that statement?
The poor and the vulnerable does not have basic things like house, food, cannot even pay the school fees of children. But those in the city are averagely doing well. They are working. You work in town. You're seen as you're doing better. But sometimes those in the villages they do better than those in town.
Because I remember there are some people who cannot go to the village anymore. Because do you know that someone told me sometimes back that there are some people. He was even specific that if you go to Kaduna State, there are some people who can no more go to their villages because they've stayed there for a very long time, though they are not doing very well. They are not even doing better than people in the village. But then they can't go back anymore. Number one, they don't have a house where to go to because they never built one. Who would they go and depend on? They can't farm.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, so
Ajibota.
sometimes people in the village are even better than people in the
People in the
city.
city,
It will
yeah.
amaze
That's
you
why I
that people in
asked
the
him if
village can
he's
even be
even-
sending foodstuff.
Yes,
And since to
exactly.
people, that's why when people
When
travel,
my
you
mom
see
was
them
coming,
with.
she brought in yams for me.
Okay,
That's me that is staying in over here.
you can hear that. So it's relative.
So
That statement is relative.
the extension that they're
actually.
clamoring for stems from the rising inflation in the economy. It's supposed to end June 30th, but they're clamoring for the extension to extend to December 31st, 2025, so that it can reach every dictum and Harry. But I particularly like the modalities at which this loan will be disbursed, because I heard it is just 1.95% interest is what per annum. So it's really very minimal. I think 3.95 to 1 point, depending on the loan,
The volume.
the volume of loan obtained. But then the extension will benefit the vulnerable. I like the process and the method at which it will be disbursed, because they are using your NIN. And they're working through banks, so banks sends it straight to your account, straight
My
to
brother,
the beneficiary.
my brother.
It doesn't go through.
There is nothing
I
that
think
these
that
people
would be
cannot
better.
do.
We
We've
also
had situation whereby
there's a story that's making rounds now that some project supervisors were on the field, those people involved in this loan, in this supervision, and some persons where the bandits came to the house and killed one. One was on his way to disburse money and had an accident and died. One had an accident and had a broken leg. The story.
So what happened to the fund at the end of the day? Someone is dead. Who will you hold? So many things. I think what the federal government should do is how to supervise this project so that it will be done to the latter.
But when Tinubu mentioned cassava and agbado, you didn't get cassava and agbado. Some states got rice and agbado, actually. I traveled last year. Talking about palliative now. When
because they said something about food,
yes.
right?
When Tinubu said, "I will hit the ground running,"
Okay.
what they asked him, "What will they?" I will give them corn, agbado. The soldiers will eat corn. They will eat agbado. Actually, most states got bags of rice, but sir, the councillors in local government, some embezzled and sold theirs. So got to the representative, he got to the leaders, but did not get to the people that it was supposed to.
That's what we're saying. It gets to the leaders and it stops there. It doesn't get to the people. You said you got some palliative.
That was loan. That was
okay. It was a loan.
COVID-19 loan. Have you paid back?
With this hardship, why do you want to expose me? With this hardship, they actually took some money. I complained the other day. I was just sitting down and they
deducted from your account.
Yes, they deducted it. The thing there is that this palliative, the best thing I think they should do is to get people that will be accountable for it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? Because sometimes if the president give the go ahead, things like just like you said, the leaders will be the one that will connive the whole thing to themselves. And we all know what happened during COVID-19. Some of this palliative, they store it somewhere. I actually don't even understand what they store it for. It was when people started protesting. One person would give the other person information that there's a warehouse in this place. It happened in Niger State. There's a warehouse in this also place, especially in Metubi. The youth, they came in masses, they raided the warehouse, they took everything there. And we saw what happened to one of these, traditional ruler in Lagos State, where they raid his palace and do away with food stuff. So they should just make sure that they put people that will be held accountable, people that will be responsible, people that will have good heart. Because if this is a go ahead and you and I did not get, we are still coming back here to lament. We'll come back here to lament. For the past 3 months, they'll be talking about palliative. We did not get. This is another one. The one of the foodstuff, meter tone, something like that. And now here we are again with 3-point-something trillion naira to go out. And we just hope it gets us.
That's what the federal government is saying. If this loan, is effective, there's a monthly cash transfer of 75,000 to the vulnerable and poor, just to cushion the effect of the hardship.
Let's just wait.
Monthly.
Let's just wait. Let's just wait until this thing is implemented.
Public complaint.
Yes, exactly. Okay. If you don't get, just go there and
75k monthly is a good thing to cushion the effect of poverty.
We're thinking about
the interest,
the possibility of these things happening.
The diversion.
We've heard severally. We've heard. But Nigerians don't see. Maybe just into few hands at the end of the day, you'll see that, okay, it has ended. 7 points 3.7 million families. What is the criteria for picking these families?
Exactly.
3.7 million families. What is the criteria? How will you pick? How will you know who is vulnerable? How will you know who is supposed to get this? How will it get to them? How will you know that it actually got to them? Who will supervise this project? Who will be held accountable at the end of the day? These are things that it is a very robust project, but then the implementation and the success is what we are praying for. Well, thank you, King Sadatu. And thank you, Prince Michael, and my humble self. And of course, we want to say thank you to you too for being there. This is weekend. Just go have fun, but then let your fun be minimal. Don't do something that on Monday you put your hand like this and start regretting why you spent that much, because the economy is not friendly. So measure your pockets with the economic situation right now. That's on the lighter note anyway. This is how we make you happy every day. All right, I will see you again, and that's going to be on Monday. Bye-bye for now. My name is Ramsey Enoch.